couldn't go for the next side. Nice speed. Huh? Lick it? Oh. Huh? No, but that's it. So I'm turning off the full match details. It's a fun left and right, man. That's the problem. Yeah. I mean, it good still, you know. I just that it shoot in directly in the center. I just that. But it good still, man. You want to shoot it out? Tell them, say, good better. Tell them to this. Video one system.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is John Stewart, of course, your commentator for the Elite Cup. And we have on match day 5, our last game for the day. Mount Pleasant Academy will be taking on Portmore United in a replay of the game from the first match day, where Mount Pleasant emerged victors 4-2 on that occasion. They'll be looking for a repeat of that here today, but Portmore United have rallied since then. Picked up a couple of really positive results. Last week drew against Montego United, and they'll be hoping to this time go on better and maybe claim a victory against Mount Pleasant, who are still unbeaten in this competition. They've won all their games and as a result sit top of the league thus far, and off the back of two of their more experienced players, Rashawn Williams and Samuel Taylor, who, though they weren't key figures last year, have been stellar in this campaign. Rashawn Williams, perhaps the most senior player on the team, had a couple of starts and especially became a regular member of the squad towards the back end of last season. And of course, he's been named the captain this year and he's been brilliant. Samuel Taylor has also been in the running, in my opinion, thus far for player of the tournament. He's been fantastic. Not to mention last week's hero, Javier Henry, who scored twice in their victory. He'll be hoping to yet again get his name on the score sheet. But Portmore United, they tend to score by committee, and they'll be hoping that they can prove their goal scoring prowess and breach this back line of the Mount Pleasant. But just quickly read out for you the team sheet for both teams. For Portmore United, it's Sheldon York, Jaquan Brown, Quayne Carey, Prince Louis, Sean Dunn, Terrain Hall, Orlando Angel, Romain Brown, Tashawn Rayner, Kelvin Brown, and LaShawn Barnaby. As for Mount Pleasant, we have in goal Marco Dean Spence, as usual, Ras Ronaldo Harriet, as well as his brother Ras Ronaldio Harriet. We have also Juby St. Jean Philip, Samuel Taylor, Jaden Brown Hanniford, Marlon Meza, who makes his first start of the campaign, Javier Henry, Rashawn Williams, and Nardo Newman, who scored last week. Sean Dunn wins the ball back there. Now here's Portmore United just defending brilliantly. Jaquan Brown gets that clear. And right in front of Harriet, gets it to it first, and Mount Pleasant on their own half here, under some pressure momentarily from Portmore United. Deshaun Arena will be taking this throw to Prince Louis. Loses it to Javier Henry, of course mentioned before, was brilliant last week, scored twice, especially that second goal, the first goal rather, was absolutely stellar. And Taylor, a lovely pass for Javier Henry, and he's taken that well. He's tried to beat Lewis there, but couldn't on that occasion. And Meza, oh, lovely bit of skill there from the young number 10. Tried to slip in Williams there, Taylor, but unfortunately the pass wasn't on. And Harriet couldn't get it off of the young number 14 there, Quayne Carey. No, here's out wide. Portmore United cross comes in, and Harriet clears. Dangerous position there for Portmore United. And Javier Henry hugged to stop the counter attack there by Romain Brown, and that will most certainly be a free kick. And had it been perhaps a bit later on in the game, could have seen a card awarded as well. But given the game's just started, perhaps the referee wisely is just only giving him a a talking to. And there is Meza. Oh, lovely drop of the shoulder there to beat his man. Messi-like ability from the young number 10. Reminiscent of Franco Celestin, really. Oh, lovely pass through as well. Very rarely we see that level of skill at this age. Not just having the ability to drop a shoulder and beat a man, but to have the vision and the accuracy on the pass. But now it's Portmore United. Reno with a shot, but didn't quite catch it cleanly. Portmore United already looking dangerous on the counter. Unable, however, to do as they'd want in terms of breaching the goal of Marco Dean Spence. Hannaford, poor pass there, only as far as Reyna, and he hits his teammate actually with that shot. And Harriet gets there, and he loses possession high up the pitch as well. Taylor, Meza, Sean Williams, along with Samuel Taylor, definitely a candidate for best player in this competition. And there is Hannaford out wide to Phillip. Been a really underrated player. Ooh, lovely pass there by Northern Newman, who scored, of course, as I mentioned before last week. Sean Dunn, good pass there. Been perhaps the standout player so far this season, in my opinion, for Portmore United. Good young player, perhaps able to play centre midfield and central defence. Pass up to Barnaby, not accurate, and Hannaford will deal with that one. But here's Harriet, pounces on it. First touch down there, but no pressure. Just regain position. Pass. Place his teammate under pressure. Good decision there by Phillip, just to wait around the feint around the defender. He's bringing it forward. Loses position, however, Samuel Taylor. Portmore United trying to get it beyond that back line. And Sean Barnaby uses his physicality to get beyond his man. Ran out of space there and lost the ball. Seems it will be a throw in. It's taken quickly to Tareen Hall. His coach spoke about him a couple of weeks ago, just saying that he'd love for him to become more assertive and really stamp his class on this competition the way he knows that Tareen can. Oh, lovely turn there. Tried to do just that. Put himself in a position to cross the ball, but unfortunately for him, the turn took him out of play, and that will be a goal kick to Mount Pleasant. But already Portmore United look quite lively. The defensive record of Mount Pleasant perhaps belies the fact that their defense isn't as impenetrable as the record would make it seem. I believe a lot of that, it really is just down to the fact that they dominate the game so much that teams rarely get a look at their goal. But if you're able to put them under pressure, I do believe that they are a bit more vulnerable this year than last. A couple of players who are playing at the back, not necessarily regulars in general really, but especially at that position. Of course, not really having players that would have been mainstays in that area of the park from last year, and they've lost the ball here, but thankfully they do well to win it back. But Inexplicably, Hannaford plays it out for a field, and must say the build-up play for Mount Pleasant hasn't been as slick as you'd want it to be, or you'd expect it to be. Harriet. Javier Henry. Ooh, poor decision to pass it there. Tareen Hall has a goal, but the deflection takes the sting out of the shot, and as a result, it's an easy save to make for Markadine Spence. Ball played upfield into the path of Meza. And a lovely pass. Well, the attempt was appreciated, but unable to find Samuel Taylor on that occasion. But the young number 10 already showing flashes that make him worthy of that jersey number. Very, very skillful. Has an eye for the spectacular in terms of a pass. Pass from Marlon Meza, and he's fouled there. Mount Pleasant has a free kick. And free kick taken by Taylor. Coming in, that's cleared by Dunn. He's won the ball back here, Taylor. Drifts in field, but loses out to Tareen Hall. And he's fouled by Rashawn Williams in the middle of the park, and that will be a free kick to Portmore United. There's Jacon Brown. Deshaun Dunn, who's playing at centre-back today. But as we know, as I mentioned before, able to play in central midfield thanks to his excellent reading of the game, both with and without the ball. And LaShawn Barnaby leaves it for Tashawn Reno, who scored an excellent goal against KFA a couple of weeks ago. Switches the play to Serena Hall, loses it, and now here's Arnaldo Newman. Turns, evades Prince Louis. Pass into the path there of Rashawn Williams. And we're back, folks. Apologies for the technical difficulties we encountered. But as you can see in the scoreboard, it still remains 0-0 at the moment. A free kick taken here. Straight into the wall. And regains possession. He's still in the box here in a dangerous area, but Mount Pleasant eventually clear. Jacon Brown now has possession. And lovely ball played here into the path of Henry. Cuts inside. And tried to feed Newman there, but poor pass and poor control from Harriet. He's not had the greatest of games on this left-hand side. Portmore United have really attacked him. Tishon Arena going at him here. And tried for the crossfield pass for his teammate, unable to find him, however. And Portmore United end up surrendering possession, and it will be a goal kick to Mount Pleasant. And the ball was played out of play there by Marco Dean Spence. And it seems that Mount Pleasant have a player down. And that player, I believe, at the moment is Mario Nelson. Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, as we just reflect, as I mentioned before, on last year's competition. Was such an enthralling one from start to finish. Number of unsung heroes, a number of players who became stars overnight, and we saw some amazing goals, great team play. A number of players emerge as viable candidates for professional football, whether it be local and overseas, and we've really seen some of them really go on to shine from this competition, Jamari Nolan being one of them. And I have to admit, when he left early in the competition after getting about 4 goals in the first 3 games of the competition, I must admit I did fear for Mount Pleasant and how they do in front of goal after he left. But Claver Nugent stepped up and was absolutely unbelievable. The rest of the way, he scored 9 goals as he emerged as the top goal scorer in the competition. Of course, he's not here this year. Neither he or Jamari Nolan. Nolan has gone over to play for the 3rd tier team in US football, the Toronto team there. And as for Claver Nugent, he's just not here at the moment for the academy team. He's been practicing, he's been playing with the senior team. Made a couple of appearances on the bench for them, as too has Owen Jump and Jaheim Douglas, players who were also some of the best in the competition last year. And that's the power this competition has right across the board. A number of players on different teams were exceptional, have gone on to really become noteworthy players. And among those players that I believe has the ability to do just that as well this year's, of course, we know the talents full well of Samuel Taylor and Rashawn Williams. We've seen it on show thus far already. But I must make mention as well of Sean Dunn from Portmore United. He has been a really underrated player this year. He's been really, really good. And I believe he has the ability and the physicality to eventually break into that first team. Of course, don't think he's going to displace Captain Howell anytime soon, but he's most definitely a candidate to at least be a part of the senior team. But now he's Marlon Meza, who has ability of his own, leaves the defender in his wake, brilliant skill. And now it's Samuel Taylor. And that goes out for a throw in to Mount Pleasant. But wonderful bit of ability there shown by Marlon Meza, quickly becoming one of the favorites to watch among the supporters in this game. And if he continues to perform the rest of the way like he has so far in this first half, he could quickly take Celestine's spot as one of my favorites in terms of players to watch in the youth setup of Jamaican football. Of course, Celestine is of course a Haitian, but he's been absolutely sensational on Jamaican soil. Referee calls play back here for the player who's down there for Portmore United. Seems to be Tishon Reno. And Barnaby is just pleading to the referee about a potential elbow that may have been sustained by Reno, by one of the Mount Pleasant players, perhaps pleading for a card or a foul of some sorts, but referee not necessarily acquiescing to those demands. Also, do want to make mention of the fact that, as we mentioned before, the comments from Eric Rademacher in terms of the TVJ interview, that this, not just this competition, but football at this age and stage for these young players should be about developing. I have to say, a big part of development is the mentality you have, and it is easier to develop a mentality that fits in or slots in seamlessly at the top level when you're winning more consistently. Of course, winning habits build that winning attitude and winning in general, but Mount Pleasant players, the talent they have on show, the way they play with such swagger, with such freedom, it lends itself to winning. And they deserve to be as good as, they deserve to experience the success that they have, not just last year, but they're on course really to win the whole thing again in terms of the league position. They've been brilliant, and I must say, winning as much as they have does give the players an air of confidence, and they show it every time they go onto the pitch. That's why players like Taylor and Williams, who have already experienced the mountain top in terms of winning this trophy, can play with the freedom that they do, because even though they have a lot to prove as individuals, they already know what it takes as a collective to win. And it's just about proving themselves now as an individual talent to announce themselves to the Jamaican populace. Ball from Taylor, lovely pass over to the right hand side, and Portmore United's cross there. Anthony Heron trying to play that one over. Kelvin Brown, I should say. He's wearing Anthony Heron's usual number, but that is Kelvin Brown. Corner comes in for Portmore United, and Spence boots it clear. Well, palms it clear, I should say. Williams smartly gets that out wide to Henry. Taylor. Henry trying to skip past Brown, but unable to do so. And Brown wins the ball back for Portmore United. And that's cleared by Hanniford, but only as far as Lewis, who's fouled by Harriet. But he gets it out wide to take to Rayner to play advantage. Rayner has a crack. Had a goal, but always going wide. And that will be a goal kick to Mount Pleasant. And Juby St. Jean Philip, must also make mention of him. He stepped in really well, in my opinion. Not just into the, I guess, the position of Owen Jump, but the role. He's really been a commanding presence in the middle of the park. It's not easy playing that role, having to be the most efficient on the park, of course. It's a thankless task, being the metronome for a team. Cross comes in there for Portmore United, headed on by Terrain Hall. And just couldn't get that last effort on target. And he's pointing for a corner kick. And it seems as though he'll get one. Sean Arena will go over to take this, but as corner comes into the back post here, and that's headed clear. And as far as Samuel Taylor, who wins a throw in, or I thought he won a throw in. It's actually throw in to Portmore United. Carey, and it's a foul throw. But as I mentioned before, Philip has really stepped into the role of Owen Jump this year as being that metronome, the player that keeps everything ticking together for Mount Pleasant. 1-2 touch football, and anytime he has to do anything flashy in terms of just dropping a shoulder to beat a man, it's always done without the sort of overindulgence that we so often see from the young players at this level right across the world, but especially in Jamaica. We have a tendency to perhaps over dribble in moments, and Philip is, of course, still young, still inexperienced, but he's displayed a lovely maturity in terms of knowing when to display his skill and not to overdo it. And very, very calm performance. Sturdy in the middle of the park, Philip has been. That midfield trio of Jump, Douglas, and at times Rashawn Williams. Oh, is Marlon Meza going on a run there and wins a corner kick. But as I mentioned before, that trio in the middle of the park from Jump, Douglas, and at times Rashawn Williams, but mostly Miguel Joseph, who, for my money, as I mentioned before, was player of the tournament. That will be a sorely missed trio for Mount Pleasant, but at this level they've shown that they're able to cope. Top of the table yet again, as we see the water break for both teams, and Portmore United just getting some treatment from one of their players who's on the ground here. resume here. And of course, I do believe it's a corner kick to Mount Pleasant, so Portmore United will have to weather this storm. See how best they can deal with this set piece. Corner comes in here. Decent one, but Prince Louis gets it clear. And Philip turns. Ooh, poor touch at the back. And he's through here. And he's actually taken out the Mount Pleasant player there, Barnaby. His touch just let him down at the final moment. He was through on goal, but unable to make Mount Pleasant play. Thankfully, Hannaford was there at the back to shore up things. Mario Nelson didn't necessarily have the greatest moment there. That error almost costing his team a goal. Of course, speaking of filling into roles, Mario Nelson hasn't necessarily been the starter thus far in this campaign, but especially when you consider the context of last season, when you have players like Earl Dennis, who was one of the best defenders in this competition, it's going to be hard. But Portmore, turning our attention to this game, still not clear here. Mount Pleasant win a foul. Rashawn Williams judged to have been fouled there as he was trying to mount a counter-attack from Mount Pleasant. Just about 7 minutes to go in this half, and Williams tries to and finds Henry, but the pass to Newman wasn't accurate. And now here's Angel, who gets past Williams but is fouled. Gets Williams but actually dispossessed rather, and Marlon Meza eventually is fouled for Mount Pleasant. Free kick to the boys in blue and white. And Philip trying to play it on there for Newman, whose first touch lets him down. Free kick is taken. Cleared down towards the left-hand side looking for Reyna. Eventually finds him, but a touch too many, and it will be a throw-in to Portmore United. And Harriet wins the ball and plays it before he got touched. But he is judged to have been fouled by the referee, by the Portmore United player there, the referee says. And that will be a free kick to Mount Pleasant. Of course, coverage will of course continue as we look ahead to next week's games. Coverage of this competition will continue here on MG Sports next week, Saturday, as usual. And we should be heading to the Mount Pleasant Academy for that round of games. And Mount Pleasant, as I mentioned before, they and Harborview yet again occupy the top 2 spots just as they did last year. But don't be quick to pencil them in for a final clash. Marlon Meza actually had a goal from there, but despite it being on target, never really having the sort of power that was able to really trouble York and goal. But lovely bit of skill there by Tishon Arena to beat his man, but unable to really do anything in terms of with the ball apart from beating those 2 defenders. Never able to mount an attack really. Harriet under some pressure here from Brown. Williams to Philip. Meza Oh, lovely turn. And what a pass. This young man is something special, folks. The young number 10. Lovely performance from him thus far. And soon and very soon, I can tell that he's going to develop into a special player. Love the imagination that he plays with. Where have they got this one, folks? Mount Pleasant always seem to have special players up their sleeve. Just as they lose about 4 or 5 of their players, they seem to get about 4 or 5 more. And Hall's fall there, and there'll be a free kick to Portmore United. Jaquan Brown will take this one. Brown plays it upfield. Finds his man. And that's cleared again by Mount Pleasant. Back towards the box. And Harriet heads it to Javier Henry. Harriet didn't do his best there with that clearance. And that will be a throw in to Portmore United in a area where they can do real damage here. And Prince Lewis will go over to take this throw in for Portmore United. He has options here. He finds his man. Now turn pass looking for a teammate there. Unable to find him. Remain Brown. Marlon Meza yet again. Brilliant on the ball. Lost it there but regains position. Here's Henry. Has Newman. Finds him out wide. Trying to get past Jaquan Brown. Unable to. And Brown expressing his frustration with his fellow defenders there, and seems that Portmore United have a player that is in some pain, but he seems to be back on his feet now. It's a corner to be taken by Meza. Standout performer thus far. Just under a minute to go in this half. Corner comes in, and he's made a meal of it. The goalkeeper spilt. Headed on and cleared. Cleared. And now here's Rain on the ball for Portmore. Barnaby loses position to Hannaford. Meza again has another to beat. Instead lays it off this time. And he returns. And he gets the chance now. Cuts inside. And the shot is blocked. Jaquan Brown. Wonderful block there by the young man. The leader really in that back line. Looked certain to score there, Meza, after a lovely 1-2 with Rashawn Williams. And as it stands right now, the scores are still level, and actually it's not even a corner, it's a goal kick. Perhaps the last touch came off of Meza, but it almost certainly did take a touch off Brown. But perhaps right after it touched Brown, it went off Meza. But nevertheless, wonderful attack from Mount Pleasant, and it's almost certainly about to be half time. And Northern Newman's expressing frustration, not necessarily sure with what exactly. And Javier Henry is just telling him to not turn his back to the play. And Angel loses the ball to Rashawn Williams. And Williams has a go from there with a shot blocked Now here's Reina. Lovely touch. He's beaten another defender here. He has a lot of space. He's in acres of it. Cross comes in. Can it be a good one? And cleared by the other Harriet brother. And Philip. His touch will take him around the defender, but it will also take him out of play. And it will be a throw in to Portmore. Portmore United get the ball. Lovely turn by Barnaby. And opts for a shot at goal. Not the most convicting shot, but good save by Marco Dean Spence, and that will bring to an end the first half here in the KFC Elite Cup between Portmore United and Mount Pleasant, the final game of the day. And just to do a short recap, Mount United in the previous game lost 3-0 to Harbourview, who were undermanned, and they'll be taking pleasure from that victory. And in the game before that, the first game of the day, Boz Academy and KFA, Kingston Football Academy, that is, played out of a 2-2 draw. Pretty exciting clash. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been John Stewart, and we'll be back after the break.
Yeah, have a battery bar. option for update it.
To update it?
The interface on this change.
Bro, this reach a 2 bar already, so that's why I'm saying I look like it take long with that.
2 bar?
2 bar.
Is it like charge? Oh, yeah, charge it.
Yeah, brother.
Never know you work with the charger.
And me. I need the recharge.
Huh?
I need the recharge.
And then this now.
Shot right now, me I go play 2 bar.
Hmm? Yo. 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 Yeah, how far reach? The camera now give me the option to see the audio levels. The interface on the camera different. I don't know why. So the big camera man. And now I get the option to edit it so I can fix the audio issue. So I know exactly when the audio upon the time. The next one yeah, I've been doing that. Not at all. Not at all.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to live coverage here on the MG Sports TV channel of the KFC Under-18 Elite Cup between Portmore United and Mount Pleasant. The final game of the day will be taking place, as I mentioned before, between Portmore United and Mount Pleasant. And as of now, the scores read 0-0 as we resume the second half here. Mount Pleasant not looking at their impervious best as usual, but Portmore United, give credit to them, have been stellar, especially at the back. Marlon Meza has been one of the standout players for Mount Pleasant, but unable as yet to give the end product that his performance perhaps deserves. And speaking of end product, that young man, Samuel Taylor, he's been one of the best players in this competition thus far. But now here's LaShawn Barnaby. He's been giving a torrid time to the defenders so far in this game with his physicality. Cross comes in, but a bit too much power on that one, and that will be a goal kick to Portmore United. To Mount Pleasant, rather. And here's Dunn on the ball. Seemed to hug Samuel Taylor there, but the referee rules play on. Here's Newman, and Dunn recovers in time to win the ball back for Portmore United. And he'll boot that up the field and eventually finds Kelvin Brown. And Harriet loses the ball there to Brown, who tries to find LaShawn Barnaby. Eventually does. He has Terrain Hall. He has Rayner to his left. He finds Rayner. Rayner with a shot on goal, but never really troubling Spence in goal there. Portmore United, as I mentioned before, have given Mount Pleasant a run for their money in this affair. A much closer one in terms of the run of play than the first game. Oh, a lovely pass over the top, but couldn't quite find Newman. Spins away from his man, but Terrain Hall does well to recover in the middle of the park, and that will be a foul on Terrain Hall. And Portmore United just really putting that midfield of Mount Pleasant under pressure, and the ball goes up there. Lovely direct play there to find Barnaby. They're causing problems with that long switch up the top. Ooh, and that should have been a foul, but they still have possession. Here's Rayner, gets past Hanniford, and a shot spilled momentarily by Spence, but he has possession yet again. And here's Meza. Finds Williams. Sean Williams ball over the top, trying to find Samuel Taylor, and he does. He can cut inside now. Does well to spin away from his man. Lovely ball control, still has possession, finds Marlon Meza. feint there to get past one. Finds Harriet. Newman was pointing for it. The run wasn't rewarded, and the pass there from Philip off target. He's absolutely irate, livid with himself there. He's more quality in him than that. Harriet trying to find his teammate there, unable to. Barnaby hits it on. But all the way for Spence. Throw in to Portmore United. Not just in this half, but first half really a better team in my opinion in terms of flow of the game. Clear out statistic in terms of possession. Oh, lovely turn there from Samuel Taylor. In my opinion, fault there, and the referee I think agrees. Handled all game really, Taylor, trying their best to keep him out of it. Fighting here to avenge that 40 loss. A game where, despite never really being a dominant team and going toe to toe, more pleasant in terms of chances or possession, did have spurts where they looked dangerous. And it's a similar vein here, but an even more consistent performance in terms of all phases of the game. Defensive resolute here. No, I agree. Barnaby tries to spin away and finds Terrain Hall. Wanted to get the ball back. Here's Barnaby. There's a box on the edge of the box. Terrain Hall there, but Orlando Angel, after he loses the ball, actually gives away a free kick and he's fouled Marlon Meza. That will be a yellow card. Shielding the ball, but eventually loses position. Philip makes Reyna fall there with a lovely twist there, but Portmore regaining possession. Switch of play there. Accuracy pass. A throw into Mount Pleasant. It's just plays like that what we see from Mount Pleasant, where typically they don't have plays like that breakdown as often as they have, in terms of just trying to generate some sort of fluidity in the midfield. The passage of play in previous games, I believe, ended as quick as it did. Jacob Brown leaves strike from goal, at goal rather, and go over the bar. Can't go from distance. I suppose you have to in a game like this if you want to come out with a result. But it's never really troubling Spence and goal there. In fact, New York hasn't really had much to do with either. Played to Marlon Meza. He's through here. He cuts inside as a shot and saved by Sheldon York. Bit of a tame effort, I must admit. Meza would have wanted to put a bit more power there and put that towards one of the corners rather than as central as he put it, but nevertheless, Portmore United have their blushes spared there on that occasion, almost surrendering a goal on the counter there to Meza, who's been sensational thus far in this game. It seems Jaquan Brown is down, and Portmore United will not like to see that. He's been their leader so far this season. He communicates and organizes their defense. And in fact, really, the team is good to go again, but he's just collapsed onto the ground once more, hoping that it's nothing more than a plan. He's grimacing and holding his shirt. Can't be too certain. Corner to be taken here by Mount Pleasant. Corner taken, and it's headed on at the near post, and only as far as Rashawn Williams. He's come back out here. And Lewis will clear it off the back of Harriet. Heads it on and couldn't get to it in time. That will be a goal kick to Portmore United, and Harriet's down in pain. It seems it's Ras Ronaldo Harriet who sustained that knock, but he should be fine. Gets it out wide to Mario Nelson, who's filled in valiantly here for the usual centre back. Of course, Basil Trail. Ooh, and he's lost the ball here in a dangerous position. There's LaShawn Barnaby using his physicality to really bulldoze those centre backs there. The final pass, however, as has much been the case for the course of this game, not good enough. Now here's Tishon Reno trying to get the cross in, and Hannaford deals with that quite easily. Back to Meza, coming forward, driving forward at the heart of the defense again. Held up in the middle of the park, however, by Dunn. And that's not Dunn, however, that's Angel. He's brought down, and that will be a free kick to Mount Pleasant. Phillip takes the free kick, delivered into the box. That's headed back to his goalkeeper there, and York easily claims that one. Clears downfield looking for Barnaby, it seems, but Brown was trying to also get to it. Now it's Taylor. Ooh, lovely pass. Oh, wide. Finds Javier Henry. Lays it off a Mesa. And that is blocked. And the aforementioned Henry trying to get back into box there to try to cause some havoc. He is offside, and that will be going the other way to Portmore United. Here's Brown. Gonna take the resulting free kick here. Clears up field. Looking, I believe, for Angel, and he wanted a fall, but there was none there. Cleared downfield from Mount Pleasant. And Sean Benjamin has come on, and he's on it in a flash. And he's won a corner. And actually, it's a goal kick. I thought he took a touch off Jacon Brown, but my apologies. Sean Dunn trying to come from the back there, and Williams leaves it for Benjamin, and referee calls play back for a foul. Thought for a minute he was going to play advantage, but he's opted for it to be called back. And we know, based on what we've seen so far in this competition, that Sean Williams does indeed have the ability to hurt a team from set pieces. Scored an amazing goal, I think, against Waterhouse from a free kick, and in a similar position as well. So we know he has the ability, the aptitude for dead ball situations. Still down there, Williams. Of course, he's their captain. They'll be hoping that he's good to go again, just getting the good old magic spray. And as Sheldon York constructs his four-man wall, we'll be hoping that it's good enough to withstand the skill from Samuel Taylor, it looks like, rather than Rashawn Williams, who, because of the knock he's just sustained, will not be taking this free kick. Taylor vying for his fourth, I believe, of the competition, which would take him level with Clark. Goes for goal! What a save by Sheldon York! Arguably the save of the day, and all his defenders and his teammates go over to congratulate him. And I must say, well deserved because that was phenomenal. Corner taken here. It's gone all the way through. Philip on the right hand side loses the ball after a couple of body fakes, and that will go out for a throw in. The way back to Hannaford. Nelson under pressure here at the back line, but he does well to spin away from the defenders, and now he can come clear, venturing from that centre back position, trying to find Sean Benjamin rather, unable to find him. Nelson heads up, and that clearance is eventually taken on by the goalkeeper again. Sheldon York has been sensational at times this season. Portmore United making some of the best saves you'll see at this age group. Ooh, poor clearance there from Harriott, giving away in a dangerous position. And fortunately for him, Portmore United not able to make them pay. Seems that in the interim, just a few moments ago, that number 9 for Portmore United, Shane Facey, has made his way onto the pitch. And they'll be hoping that he can provide some level of threat up top. Of course, Deshaun Barnaby has proven to be quite the handful for the Mount Pleasant defense thus far with his size and physicality, but he hasn't quite had the end product that they would love. He's been pretty actually wasteful in front of the goal this season. In this game, it's not really been as much a case of having chances, just not necessarily having an end product in terms of knowing what to do in the final third. His decision making has been, I think, that's looking down today. Nelson clears to have the field, looking for Benjamin on it to find him on that occasion. And that will be a throw in to Mount Pleasant. And Brown clears that upfield. Headed on again by Nelson to Rashawn Williams, and his control lets him down on that occasion, but gets it to Ras Ronaldo Harriott, trying to play it downfield for Meza. On a lovely pass for Williams. He starts a feint there, leaves the ball again, and somehow retains possession. And he's gotten past another, and thought he was brought down, but referee rules play on. Philip won the ball back, but ooh, a wild swing from Orlando Angel, but the referee says play on. And that's cleared by Sean Dunn eventually. A number of feisty challenges coming in from both teams here. No foul, however, on either side. Referee letting them play. And that's the type of aggressive play that you love to see. Aggressive but fair. And throw in to be taken here by Harriott. Throw in taken. Ooh, not the greatest clearance in the world now. It's only as far as Meza. Whose pass takes it back to Harriott, who spins. Ooh, and a shove in the back there of Benjamin, and that will be a free kick in a pretty dangerous area for Mount Pleasant. Do have a number of dead ball specialists, and Marlon Mays has gone over to claim this one. We've seen, of course, as I mentioned before, Rashawn Williams score from one of these early on in the season, and Mez has left it for Williams to take again, and they'll be hoping that they can go on better than their last set piece attempt from Taylor, which was brilliantly saved by York. Can Williams repeat the same trick that he did against Waterhouse a couple of weeks ago? A bit further out, but still in a good position to have a crack at goal. Williams blasted into the wall, and the bit of power on that one leaves the Portmore United defender on his back. He's still down and he's getting some urgent medical attention there. Physio ran onto the pitch. Of course, winded. Suffered something similar in my playing days. So I know how that feels. Never want to be on the end of those free kicks in the wall. And Portmore United, just about 14 minutes to go in this one, have really done well to weather the storm from Mount Pleasant, who, of course, as I mentioned before, league leaders, favorites heading into this game, as they are in every match they enter into this competition, and not display the same level of dominance that they are used to. But Portmore, kudos to them. They've not made it easy at all, showing the sort of resilience that is typical of their first team in the Jamaican Premier League. Oh, lovely turn there from Terrain Hall, but the pass wasn't accurate. And Harriet leaves it for Taylor. And Reyna trying to get that clear. And Facey commits a foul there. And the player in the air was Hannaford. Deemed a dangerous challenge, that one. Williams will take this free kick and opts for a short one for Nelson. Plays it into Benjamin, who tried to go for the wall pass there for Henry, unable to find him, however. Sheldon York and Marcodine Spence, however, my apologies. Poor pass from him. And Facey regains position for Portmore. Pass, however, not on target. And now is Lewis with the ball. Ooh, dangerous tackle, and that will be a free kick for Portmore. And they have an opportunity here to put one into the box just to get an opportunity at goal against Mount Pleasant. And it's a free kick here in a pretty dangerous area where they could hurt Mount Pleasant with just about 11 minutes to go in this one. They're going to need to get something out of this, and what would it mean for them would be their best result of the campaign thus far, for them to take a major scalp here a victory off the league leaders on a day where they've not been at their dominant best. And free kick to come in here. And it's gone straight into the wall. Not sure why they've opted for Paul on that occasion instead of just lofting it into the box. But perhaps went for the shot there. Saw his name in lights. Meza again trying to beat his defenders, and he does. Finds Williams in the middle of the park now. He drives at his defender and he beats him again. And Portmore United in disbelief there. Orlando Angel as a decision, but for my money that's quite clear. Yes, he's the one on the ground, but he's also the one who made the challenge there, Brown. And that is Romain Brown, who is on the ground writhing around in pain. He is the one who tried to challenge Rashawn Williams there, dared to challenge Rashawn Williams, and he came off worse for it. But it is still Mount Pleasant's ball, and I believe Rashawn Williams also has been awarded a yellow card. It seems perhaps for a potential elbow in the face, but it could show sportsmanship between the two to shake hands after the altercation. Nelson could take this. Free kick comes in, Dunn heads clear, and it's headed back into the box, but Sheldon York will easily claim that, and another Portmore United player is down. And I must say, folks, not sure as to why, but it seems Romain Brown is down yet again, and they'll be hoping that he can continue. But should he not be able to, they do have Taekwon Dunkley, who did score from the penalty spot a couple of weeks ago, and another ball that they had that time against, I believe it was a house.
So you're not afraid. So you're not afraid.
As Brown gets some medical attention, I must say I applaud Portmore United, not just in terms of being able to get a positive result as well as it seems, as it stands against Mount Pleasant, and that in itself is praiseworthy, but for how they've played really throughout the course of this campaign thus far, up to this point, it's always commendable to see a team that's relatively new to a competition, not necessarily in the aspect of being promoted per se, but still new to this competition, and they've acquitted themselves quite well, gotten a couple of draws, and they believe a win as well. Waterhouse themselves have 2 wins. Orlando Angel finds Rayner out wide, however, and Rayner not quite the same level of accuracy that he had with this shot that scored against KFA, but that's at least an effort on goal that is appreciated by the Portmore United faithful. And that's cleared down the wing, and Benjamin wins a throw-in off Sean Dunn. Williams to Ronaldinho Harriet. Nelson leaves it for Samuel, but Samuel runs into trouble. And that's cleared downfield by Jaquan Brown. And here's Rash Ronaldo Harriet. Turns inside. And Javier Henry, good touch there. Gets back the return pass. Trying to take it around his defender. And Rashawn Williams loses the ball to Romain Brown. And Portmore United's Romain Brown just trying to outpace everybody there, but eventually surrenders a throw in and expended a lot of energy doing that. And we'll be hoping to get back in position quickly enough. But here's Ronaldinho Harriet. A lovely touch around Facey there by Nelson, and he's fouled in the process, and that will be a free kick. Just about 5 minutes to go for Mount Pleasant. If they are to get all 3 points from this game, they're going to have to do it quickly. Not much left in this one, folks. Last game of the day. And while it has been a 0-all draw thus far, it has been a pretty exciting one. And it'd be a shame to end the game on a note like this in terms of not having any goals. Not when we've had a game and 2-all and the other was 3-0. Close affair, however. But now here's Benjamin. Cuts inside. Finds Williams. Turns. And that's cleared by Portmore United. Reno. Ooh, trying to find Facey, I should say. And Henry is deep. Trying a long pass over the top for number 22, who's just come on for Mount Pleasant. Or number 21, I should say. I believe that's Leonardo Flowers. Unable to find him over on that occasion, and that will be a goal kick for Portmore United. Still haven't seen Basil Trailers yet. A fan favorite among the Mount Pleasant supporters. Scored a couple of weeks ago, I believe. And he was absolutely sensational in that game. And whenever he has played, really. He played against Portmore United as well in the first game. Oh, lovely turner by Benjamin. And he's fouled afterward. Fouled there by number 14 for Portmore United, Queen Carey, and that will be a free kick to Mount Pleasant. Taylor and Williams setting up over this. And it seems Henry's also over there. A committee, it seems, in terms of decision making for this free kick. Taylor to take, and it's a save by Sheldon York. It was low, but it had a bit of punch behind it, and it was going towards that far corner. Had to be dealt with by Sheldon York, and Meza has his hands up, looking towards the referee. But as the coach is always encouraged, play to the final whistle, and play to the whistle. And on that occasion, that shot there coming in from distance, never really troubling York on that occasion. Let's also make mention, do you see on the match card, Abraham Joseph, who, if you can remember from last year's competition, played for Balls Academy, and he was one of the players that, I must say, puzzled me, because you look at his physical attributes and you look at the pace that he has, not just to run in a straight line, but he's genuinely able to beat defenders. But the consistency of his performances weren't necessarily always there for Ballers Academy last year, and it's good to see that he's been able to get a move elsewhere. But I hope that he's able to take this opportunity and actually develop in terms of his footballing IQ. And if ever you're going to do that, Mount Pleasant is the team to do it. And we're hoping. Talk about footballing IQ. What about this young man, Marlon Meza? He's had a fantastic game. Been toying with the defenders of Portmore United. His passing, his dribbling has been exceptional. Cannot be pressed. Harriet. Williams. Lovely turn. Harriet. Henry. Lovely pass. And now here's Benjamin. Can cut inside here. Trying to sneak inside past Sean Dunn. Unable to. Who's been brilliant. Again, Sean Dunn. Must mention, as I said before, he's definitely one of the most underrated players in this competition thus far. Not the flashiest, but he gets the job done. And if he gets a clean sheet here, I don't think he'll mind too much about plaudits. But now here's Mount Pleasant trying to engineer an attack here. Harriet. Under some pressure from Reno, still retaining possession. Sean Williams. Lovely ball over the top there. trying to find Flowers in place of Newman, and referee adhering to the call of his lineman, and play goes the other way for a free kick. And Mount Pleasant, with just under a minute to go, running out of fuel here, running out of time as well to get a win. And Jaquan Brown, he's calling for help. He's in a lot of pain, and Sheldon York and his teammate Sean Dunn just urging the medical staff of Portmore United to come as quickly as possible to assist Jaquan Brown. And there's being urged by the referee to get off the pitch as quickly as possible, which means that for however long it'll take Brown to get back to full fitness, or perhaps maybe he'll be substituted, until that moment, Portmore United will not only have to be playing with 10 men, but they'll have to be without their best defender and their leader, really. And it's cleared downfield by York. Headed on, only as far as Harriet. Oh, lovely touch there around the corner by Terrain Hall. Cuts inside past Harriet again. Oh, and it beats him once more. Cross comes in. Finds Orlando Angel, and the shot's blocked by Harriet. Angel trying to get some space in the box, but unable to. Samuel Taylor, a minute pass. The 80 that's allotted for regular time finds Benjamin. Cuts back to Taylor. And Williams turns again. Out wide again for Benjamin. Or so it seemed. But Portmore United get it clear. And Rayner unable to keep it in play. And there will be a throw-in to Portmore United. Henry. Meza. This is a shot from distance, and another one from Javier Henry. And really thought that they were going to get that one on target, but had a lot of power, but no accuracy. And Mount Pleasant still unable to find the back of the net. Jaquan Brown still not fully fit, but still soldiering on as the leader, as he is, leading by example, putting his body on the line for the team here in this game. And he's actually going to be the one taking the back kick. And clears. Harriet heads upfield. And this could be the last action of the game here. And plays it out wide for Meza. He could decide the game here. Oh, lovely bit of skill. Turns inside. And Jaquan Brown. What a performance. And between Brown and Meza, I don't know who to decide has been more impressive today. Brown's defensive performance has been absolutely resolute. And in light of the fact that he probably shouldn't even be on the pitch at the moment, I must say he deserves a lot of plaudits here. And Prince Louis urged to go back to the original spot for the free kick by the referee. Decision Portmore United will not like. Of course, they too want to win this game. Perhaps, of course, would be happier with this result than Mount Pleasant, who, of course, aim to win every game. Taylor, ooh, held. After getting past his man, and now it's Meza on the ball yet again. Gets it out wide to Rashawn Williams. And cuts inside, attracting 2 or 3 defenders every time. And he loses possession, and now he's Facey. Gets it out wide to Terrain Hall. Portmore United could make them pay here. Hall gets past Harriet, but on hand there is the Mount Pleasant defense to help out. And 4 minutes already gone past stoppage time. Can't be much left, surely. But Meza turns. Pass 2, pass 3, pass 4, pass 5. He's still going, and he's found his teammate here, Benjamin. And he's slipped in a pass here for Samuel Taylor. And the cross blocked by Portmore. And you can see Romain Brown, I believe, that is jumping around ecstatic, relishing the opportunity to get this clean sheet. Portmore United, and should they surrender, they give up a clean sheet, it would be devastating given how well they've played today. Corner comes in towards the back post, no one there to meet it, and the referee blows for full time in the final game today in the Elite Cup. Match day 5 draws to a close. The scoreline reads Mount Pleasant 0, Portmore United 0. Have to say, ladies and gentlemen, despite the fact it's the only game today that hasn't led to a goal, I must say it's arguably the most exciting game. A lovely watch for neutral viewers today. Of course, if you're a Mount Pleasant fan, you won't like the missed chances. Several of them which will be rude, but beautiful, beautiful stalwart performance at the back, especially by Jacon Edwards. But this has been John Stewart, your commentator for today, signing off on MG Sports. And of course, as always, you know where to find us when you want Elite Cup competition coverage every Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been my pleasure. Have a good afternoon.
Competition is nice. Competition is more competitive than last year still. It's KFA. This year more competitive than last year. That's what you have here. KFA, sure. KFA? Yeah, but them have to straighten up some things.
No, remember I said them done up on the second most points, no?
Yeah, KFA, yeah. A Waterhouse, the Waterhouse up on a run. What about you can do?
3-0.
Aberville, I can't write out Aberville.
Maybe I need to go see the old.
You gone already, boy. You